We started off with a very warm February, right? In fact, all of winter was pretty warm except one little spot in January. So we want to know, is the rest of March going to be that way? Are we going to get warm into April? Unfortunately, the warmth we've had lately, I think, starts to fade. I think as we get later into March, we have some cooler risks in place. But what's cool in late March, you know? It doesn't take us back to January cold, but it certainly takes us cooler, which means they're going to have to pump the brakes a bit on early planting and earlier field work. Now, I think that the last bit of this cold probably comes the first week of April. And then after that, we're going to go pretty quickly through the rest of April into May. So there's better evidence of a warmer spring and possibly an earlier start for folks. Question comes down to moisture, though, I think, more than anything.
Is this a function of the switch from El Nino to La Nina, or is it just too early for that?
Yeah, that prediction I gave you was primarily on that transition from El Nino to La Nina. So this El Nino peaked in December, and it's fading now through the rest of winter now into early spring. We expect it to be gone by the end of spring, possibly knocking on the door of La Nina into, into early, let's call it mid to late summer, early fall. Now, what does that mean? That means that the atmosphere is going to start to respond in a way to change the behavior of the jet stream. And we tend to worry a bit about La Ninas as taking some flow out of the jet stream. So if we can avoid a fast transition into La Nina, we start to peel back the risk of having drought episodes in the midsection of the country. If we don't, and we quickly fall off into La Nina and the North Pacific gets cold as well, then we have a big story to talk about for this upcoming growing season being dry.
Okay, that's what we want to see, is not the North Pacific turning cold then.
Right. If we could avoid that at all costs, that keeps the rain coming, that keeps the temperatures near normal. If the North Pacific goes cold, that's an indication that the atmosphere is preferring to dip jet streams over the western U.S. If the jet stream dips west, it bulges over us, which means we get ridges, we get heat, we get drought. So the North Pacific is the preseason indicator. It's the symptom to the atmosphere's behavior this point in the year that tells me whether or not I should be worried about drought or not. So what's going on right now? The ocean temperatures in the north are a little cooler than average, but nothing outside of seasonal variability. If they start to really, really drop off fast in the next 45 to 60 days, we'll have a really important story for U.S. crops come summer.
Now, that may relate to markets too, because whatever we are impacted by a change from El Nino to La Nina is also going to impact Brazil and their safrinha crop that they're getting planted and will be harvested here in April and May.
That's right. So the Brazilian safrinha crop is in, right? And right now, as we watch it continue to grow, there's some issue of drought on it. But to be honest, some of the earlier forecasts of really dry conditions in March and April, which would hit Brazilian production in a big way, they're kind of waffling a bit. So in other words, today, as of March 5th, there is the chance that they actually get a decent shot at rain in the middle and late of March on that crop. Now, if that doesn't come, the Brazilian monsoon ends in mid-April, and it's done in May, which means that crop could have a big missing drink of water in the middle of its growing season, then into reproduction, and then grain fill miss out on key moisture as well. And all of a sudden, you time that up with any sort of worry about drought in the Midwest, I'm talking May, June, we could have a story on our hands that pushes markets in the direction we want them to go. Now, I said all of that in one breath, but I also want to tell you that's a lot of events that have to come together at the same time to give us that kind of bullish news. But if you want to watch something, that's what you watch.
People need to get crop insurance, and they just cross their fingers.
I would say that, and this is an interesting year with crop insurance, certainly because of the different types of protection you can get, given where we've been, right? So I think this is an important year where the on-farm decision-making needs to outpace weather and markets. So let's hope that we're doing that well.